The TVWAN News is proudly brought to you by BSP, our bank, our people.
Hello and welcome. This is TVWAN News. I'm Jasmine Ero. In this edition, sub-governments fight against GBV, farmers leave for China for training, and Wegman get 3-in-row win. Bougainville leaders have reaffirmed their commitment to the Bougainville Vision 2052 framework as the blueprint for planning and development in Bougainville. This commitment was further solidified through the signing of 4 key resolutions under the One Plan, One Budget principle following the conclusion of the 2023 ABG Leaders Symposium in Buka on Friday, May the 26th. The resolutions reached include endorsements of the draft Bougainville Integrated Strategic Development Plan 2023 to 2027, the draft Vision 2052 framework, the development budget focus for 2024 to 2027, and the One Plan, One Budget principle to foster the One People, One Nation, One Vision concept. This milestone was reached following intense discussions by leaders at the political and administrative levels on Bougainville's long-term development and preparations towards independence. The national government does not work without following due processes. Prime Minister James Marape made these remarks when addressing the media on the recent Defense Cooperation Agreement signing between PNG and USA.
Prime Minister James Marape clarified that the government follows the legal check and balances put in place in processes. He said the recently signed Defense Cooperation Agreement by PNG and USA is similar to agreements signed with New Zealand and Australia. The Prime Minister also said copies of similar defense cooperation agreements with USA would be made public for anyone wishing to confirm the sincerity of these arrangements.
National government don't engage on work without following due processes. The country must trust the processes of government that we have in place. We have the legal check and balance mechanisms installed in our government processes. We have the legal, financial, and treasury check and balance mechanisms put in place in the government processes. Of course, we have the processes that Prime Minister Department manage, which is the cabinet processes. All these processes are check and balance to ensure whatever we do are consistent with law and are in harmony with all sister laws and the main matter of our country's laws, which is our national constitution.
The Prime Minister reiterated that the Defense Cooperation Agreement is not a new concept, adding that there is a law passed by our founding fathers called the Defense Visiting Force Act of 1975 under Section 206 of the Constitution that allows a partnership between our defense force and the defense force of the country we are in partnership with. He also mentioned that the DCA will never ruin our relationship with other countries, including China.
Instead of USA now coming through a third party into PNG, we're opening direct line. Washington, Waigani, Pentagon, Mari Barracks, and the work to flow on, working with them. And this does not compromise Papua New Guinea's military and business relations with Australia, Papua New Guinea's business, government, and security relationship with China, Papua New Guinea's relationship with all nations we relate to. With USA, it does not compromise them.
Freddie Mo, TVWAN News.
Bougainville's future must not be left to chance. This was the sentiment shared by the autonomous region of Bougainville President Ismail Torama during the recent opening of the annual ABG Leaders Symposium at the Hujana Hall in Buka, North Bougainville. The president told participants that Bougainville is on the cusp of taking control of its own politics and governance as an independent nation no earlier than 2025 and no later than 2027. Speaking on the Bougainville Vision 2052, President Torama challenged all leaders to reflect on what kind of society an independent Bougainville will look like and how the formulation of these plans will support their dream. Long-term planning is a priority area under the Torama-Nisira government's 6-point strategy, and the symposium will also see the introduction of the government's 30-year plan called the Bougainville Vision 2052. Climate variation being the perennial issue, including sourcing appropriate development assistance from the Korean government, will be high on the agenda when Prime Minister James Marape will be addressing the Korean Pacific Island Leaders Summit. Marape said the encouragement during the caucus was for all PIC leaders to discuss their developmental challenges and put forward their ideas on how Korean development assistance could complement the 2050 Blue Pacific strategy.
Prior to the Korean Pacific Islands leaders meeting on Monday, Prime Minister James Marape joined other PIC leaders for a breakfast caucus chaired by Cook Islands Prime Minister and current Pacific Islands Forum Chair Mark Brown to discuss the agenda and a common position on shared development issues. Following this caucus, Prime Minister Marape met with Australian Deputy Prime Minister Richard Marles. Their discussions were centered around progress of the proposed bilateral security treaty, the recently concluded defense cooperation agreement with the U.S., visa issues, and the PNG NRL bid. On the BST, Prime Minister Marape mentioned that it was work in progress and required the PNG side to consult our domestic processes and sovereign laws in relation to certain weddings and provisions. He also conveyed his apologies to Prime Minister Anthony Albanese for the delay in formalizing this proposed treaty with Australia. For the DCA with the U.S., Prime Minister Marape informed that it was centered around improving the PNG Defence Force capabilities and interoperability, including protecting our frontiers and sovereignty. He said it was non-discriminatory and PNG was open to entering into similar arrangements with its bilateral partners. For visa issues, Deputy Prime Minister Marles said that following the ministerial forum in February this year in Canberra, a joint ministerial team was established to work on bringing the Australian visa processing facility back on shore to PNG. Freddie Mo, TVWAN News.
The 12 men that were announced as Men of Honor ambassadors for Season 7 of the Men of Honor campaign under Digicel PNG Foundation will now be representing the Men of Honor campaign aimed to break the cycle of violence in PNG. Digicel PNG Foundation hosted its 7th season Men of Honor Awards on Wednesday the 3rd of May 2023 at the APEC House in Port Moresby. 12 men were announced as Men of Honor ambassadors for Season 7 of the Men of Honor campaign under Digicel PNG Foundation. They represent the Men of Honor campaign aimed to break the cycle of violence in PNG. These men were nominated by their families and communities because of the courage they show in maintaining peace, addressing violence, and being role models in their communities. To date, the MOH campaign has awarded 107 men across the nation on the outstanding work they are doing in their communities to build peace and address drivers of violence in their community. The MOH ambassadors for Season 7 are Johannes Kundal from Enga, Peter Super from Simbu, Michael Yapi from Western Highlands, Stanley Bakere from NCD, Jimmy Bunny from NCD, Michael Ikavape from NCD, Duaro MB from Morbe, Awok from Medang, Noel Sirius from East Sepik Province, Samson Kelu from West New Britain, Pastor Michael Zairere from West New Britain, and Jonathan Mesulam from New Ireland. The MOH Awards Night, which was on the 3rd of May 2023, announced the MOH ambassadors and was a success through the support of regional sponsors, namely Digital PNG for Islands Region, BSP Group for Southern Region, Atlas Steel for Mamase Region, Santos for Highlands Region, with PNG Air as the official carrier and Airways Hotel providing accommodation. Prime Minister James Marape was also in attendance, appreciated Digicel Foundation for running the Men of Honor campaign for 7 seasons, and thanked the sponsors for making the event possible.
This country needs men to take leadership. This country needs men in all sectors to take leadership. And tonight I am happy I spent the last 2 hours here and not elsewhere to be inspired by the story of those fine gentlemen.
Digicel PNG Group CEO Colin Stone expressed that the company was privileged to be part of the development stories of the communities that Digicel works in.
Digicel Papua New Guinea Limited is proud to continue the support of and the work of the Foundation to address important social issues including gender-based violence, health and of course education. The Digicel Foundation was launched 1 year after Digicel Papua New Guinea launched its network, with the focus of the business of connecting the unconnected.
For the first time, the 3rd day of the Permanent Parliamentary Committee on Gender Equality and Women Empowerment and Gender-Based Violence began this afternoon session by engaging with subnational government officials who are supporting their efforts to address GBV and sorcery action-related violence. The National Capital District Commission was among these who presented their report on the work they have been doing in this space. On the 26th of May, the 3rd day of the Permanent Parliamentary Committee on Gender Equality and Women Empowerment and Gender-Based Violence held hearings for the first time from subnational government officials who are supporting their efforts to address GBV and sorcery action-related violence. Provincial administration officers from the National Capital District, East Sepik and Morobe, were invited to speak of their work, including good practice that other provinces could learn from. NCTC City Manager Ravu Frank began the hearing with his update.
For NCTC, we have embarked on this particular issue since 2020. We have a strategy called the NCTC GBV Strategy 2020 to 2022. The strategy is broken up into 3 major compartments. In the strategy, we have spent almost to the tune of 4.2 million kina annually on this issue. So, Chairman, NCTC is not just talking but walking the talk, and we're serious in this particular issue.
Number 1, walk the talk, educate the staff. Number 2, deliver accountability by encouraging companies and contractors to adapt GBV policies and sign the pledge. And number 3, disrupt and demand by working with INGOs and NGOs to do behavior change activities in schools, settlements, and a range of partners. East Sepik Deputy Provincial Administrator Godfrey Rausen then gave his report of fighting against gender-based violence in his province.
And we took it home to the province, and our provincial government and our provincial administration grabbed that with both hands. And in 2020-21, we were doing our structures and accountabilities towards the fight of the GBV in East Sepik province.
The committee established an interim committee for East Sepik comprising of 15 committee members from related stakeholders. They established a secretariat from the existing community development section in the provincial administration, collected profile, and wrote the GBV plan known as the East Sepik Province Gender-Based Violence Prevention Response Strategy and Action Plan 2022 to 2026. Rausen said the plan will be launched with a 200,000 kina support from the provincial government. The GEWE committee was impressed with the reports they received from the provinces. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Stay with us.
It was during and after COVID that really motivated me to want to take up life insurance. I think savings is very important, and I think One Talk Delight provides a disciplined approach to savings, and it's a good investment to want to think about the future, because it's always nice to have plans for what you want to do later on.
With you for life.
Whether we're playing sport, exercising for fitness, being active for work or play, just having some fun, or just chilling, there is one name we can count on that we know will keep us going strong. Skell Rice. Healthy, nutritious, delicious medium grain rice full of vitamins and minerals. Skell helps us maintain a healthy, active lifestyle so we can enjoy every day.
Skell Rice. Skell Life.
A true champion is measured by their courage, their determination, and their passion to never give up and to always keep trying. With a delicious Milo in milk taste and added nutrients, Milo in milk is a great way to fuel our little champions with nourishing energy every day. Because true champions give it their all.
Milo, PNG and Mia. Find PNG made.
Our journey starts with you. We'll be there from the start, right through to your life's adventures. We'll ensure comfort and make your safety our priority. We'll take you to memorable moments, no matter where it begins. And we'll get you there like we've always done. The 4th generation coaster bus, more than just a bus.
Right across the nation, we eat snacks crackers. Emi trupla. All get a young planalapun, only like him snacks crackers. Only make him here, no PNG, one time lay biscuit company. It's crunchy and tasty. It's irresistible.
Welcome to the penthouse. I'm after both your blood.
JC! Leo!
JC, get down!
Karate One Premier League, live from Fukuoka, June 11th.
Welcome back. Member for Pomio and Chairman of the Special Parliamentary Committee on Health Issues, Elias Kapavore, emphasized that the government health authorities must recognize the work of the churches and thus partner with them in service delivery. He was commenting on the close working relationship between the PHA and the church health agencies, as well as the Office of the Governor during a recent press conference.
Chairman for Special Parliamentary Committee on Health Issues, Elias Kapavore, complimented Governor for Isipik, Alan Bird, and the Provincial Health Authority Board for a good working relationship among themselves and with the church health agencies. He also commended Isipik PHA CEO Matthew Kaluvia for showing them how health services is being run in some of its main health centers in the province.
They have a good team of directors, from the board to the CEO and the directors. We saw that there's a good working cooperation with the Isipik PHA and especially the Office of the Governor. Governor Alan Bird is called his provincial administrator, who was acting PA at that moment when we were there. They have a good, importantly, they have a good working cooperation amongst them. and that's something that I'd like to stress. It's not being seen in many parts of our country.
Kapabora went on to applaud the ESPHA for being the first to deliver its 2022 annual general management report and the new Borom Hospital facility.
It generally is a new facility, and from the committee's point of view, it sets the way forward and the new level of infrastructure for a level 5 hospitals in our country. It gives that confidence and the assurance that our health infrastructure going forward is the way to go. If we can engage these particular kind of companies who can deliver, they are amount that they are at a value of 220 million kina, 210 million kina.
Kapabora reiterated that there is serious need for infrastructure upgrade in our major hospitals, with Borom in Wewak taking the lead, mentioning in particular the builders. Health services are provided by 334 healthcare facilities, including 1 provincial hospital, 40 health centers, and 281 aid posts. Only 31 aid posts are currently operational. The rest are closed because of manpower shortages. The team visited Huliwa Level 1 aid post in Yangoru, Sausia, the community health post in Naramko Maprik District, the Maprik District Hospital, and the Ambunti Drekikir Health Center, which is a recently completed state-of-the-art facility funded by ADB. It will also serve people from Nuku and Aitape, Lumi districts of Wesipik as well. A general concern and request from the Ambunti Drekikir community is to have the health center open as a matter of priority. Frida Kana, TVWAN News.
Lifestyle diseases or non-communicable diseases are now on the same level of health concern as the communicable diseases in the country, major ones being hypertension, diabetes, cancer, and kidney disease. At Port Moresby General Hospital, these are leading causes of death, together with malaria, tuberculosis, and pneumonia.
Kidney disease is a deadly disease. It costs about 1,800 kina for a session at the private hospitals in Port Moresby, so one must have 3,000 kina per week to stay alive, which is an impossible task for most Papua New Guineans, even those in the workforce. PNG Kidney Foundation charges 230 to 300 kina or 1,000 kina every week. At the opening of the Kidney Dialysis Center at Mendi Provincial Hospital in Southern Islands, one of the guest speakers, Dr. Paki Malumi, CEO of Port Moresby General Hospital, emphasized that there is a need for an exit plan for patients because kidney dialysis is not the ultimate cure.
So that to keep you alive, you got 3+ sessions per week. That means it's like rubbish spill up inside of blood blow you, because kidney blow you know walk, inside of you piece go out, you this la machine by kidney blow. But are we going to continue to keeping patients on that machine? No, we will have to have an exit plan. Otherwise, every week, all by who come to this machine, hard load by go walk the garden wall to do their normal things so that they can build the economy of this country. We have to have an exit plan, and the exit plan is to do kidney transplant.
Dr. Mulumi said further that the kidney transplant guarantees a normal life for a person with only minimal medical treatment. Dr. Mulumi said they have sent many kidney transplant patients overseas, 20 of whom are still alive. Dr. Mulumi said through National Fisheries Authority, the government donated to Port Moresby General Hospital 10 million kina. The money was released in the account last December to fund the kidney transplant program.
We are working on a kidney transplant program so that before Jimmy reaches 2025, we must do kidney transplant. So, thank you, Joseph, Dr. Birisi, and the board of Southern Islands PHA and the management for starting this kidney dialysis program here, so that is going to support the transplant program which we are working on.
He said the health minister and his secretary are working together with the Port Moresby General Hospital to get an organ donor legislation passed to allow for kidney transplant. Frida Kana, TVWAN News.
For the improvement of literacy outcomes for students in elementary school in the country, Digicel PNG Foundation, in partnership with the Department of Education and Billum Books, launched the assessment report for the Literacy Enrichment and Education Development Program on May the 5th, 2023. The literacy assessment is to provide evidence on the effectiveness of the program, and the results contained in the report are findings from a 10-month literacy assessment involving 789 elementary students in 32 elementary schools in the autonomous region of Bougainvilles. The assessment was done by comparing the performance of students from schools using the Billum Books SBC English program with students from schools not using the program. The findings proved that the anecdotal evidence that the elementary teacher using Billum Books improved students' learning, reading, and comprehension across all strands in the standard-based curriculum. The Conservation and Environment Protection Authority is planning to host World Environment Day celebrations in Leh on Monday, June the 5th. The theme for this year is #BeatPlasticPollution. The Conservation and Environment Protection Authority and its stakeholders will be hosting World Environment Day celebrations at the Leh Botanic Gardens on Monday, June the 5th. This year's campaign is #BeatPlasticPollution. SIPA's scientific officer Shirley Molle iterated that they are collaborating with their partners to come up with ways to mitigate plastic wastes in Leh.
We know plastic is an issue now in the industrial sectors. We are trying our best to promote the theme solutions to plastic pollution. The other thing is we also have a regulation in place. It's about the biodegradable plastic use regulation. It was implemented in 2011 and it's ineffective. But the problem we have now is the enforcement bit, where we try to get it to the public and telling them the use of biodegradable plastic bag is banned now. So we are trying to use the World Environment Day as an opportunity. We figured that Leh, being the 80% of industrial sector in Papua New Guinea, we are targeting Leh to host and also launch the World Environment Day, the distributors. Because some of the permit holders that we have, they say that they are only bringing in the biodegradable bags where we allow for them to use. But the single-use plastics, the ones that you go to the shop and they pack your things with white and the red bags, these are the ones that we are banning, because it's not good for the environment when you are banning it. Because this waste, they still end up in the dump and they still ban it. So this is the problem where we're facing now.
Molle explained that the 2011 policy banned the importation, manufacture, and use of non-biodegradable single-use plastic shopping bags in PNG. The reason why plastic bags are still being used in shops is because SIPA is yet to strengthen the laws with regard to distributors who issue plastics to wholesalers or shops who then pack customers' items in them. Plastic bags not only litter the land, they also end up in rivers and seas when conveyed by rainfall runoff, water flow, and wind. 23 farmers left for China this afternoon for a month-long tropical agricultural crop training. The training is fully funded by the government of China and includes other Pacific Island countries.
Farewelling their families this afternoon at the Jackson's International Airport, the 23 farmers left PNG source eager to learn about tropical agriculture in China. The farmers are from Central, Jiwaka, Western Islands and Eastern Islands provinces. It is a month-long training fully funded by the Chinese government. Team leader William Sent said such a training will boost farmer knowledge on farming systems in their own provinces.
This afternoon there's a team of 23 Papua New Guinean farmers, some officers from agriculture, are traveling to China on a program funded by Chinese government for tropical agriculture crop training, which covers all the Pacific Islands. So in this program that we are going, it will be a month. 3 buses is coming on board. Someone is coming in Papua New Guinea. We have 23. The notice was short. That's why it wasn't widely circulated. So this is a a trial phase where we will go. And then in the next sequence of trainings, we would like to promote farmers, especially tree crop farmers, to participate in this program. And it's fully sponsored by Chinese government.
Since 2004, Chinese Academy of Tropical Agricultural Sciences has organized more than 100 international trainings sponsored by international organizations, Chinese ministries, departments of Chinese governments, which benefited more than 4,000 participants from some 99 countries. Among these trainings, 55 are sponsored by the Ministry of Commerce of the People's Republic of China with 1,936 trainees. The trainings focus on cultivation, plant protection, processing and quality safety testing of major tropical crops such as cassava, rubber, tropical fruits and vegetables, tropical flowers and tropical spicy beverages, among others. Freddie Mo, TVWAN News.
TVWAN News continues when we return. Stay with us.
There's a sense of pride when you're able to do something right, a financial decision that has just really good benefits. With BSP Life Insurance, there's that alleviation of that worry when you pass away. The benefits of the BSP Life Insurance would meet those expenses on behalf of my family. If you're young and you have kids, you owe it to your children to make sure they're not left behind when you pass on.
With you for life.
He says the best Hunters players come from his region. So does she. But there's one thing that brings everyone together. SB Lager, Bougainvilles.
Hiya, Mama. You wait time, but me add him special flavor.
Put in more flavor, put in more taste. Magical Karu, get up a big smile on face. Time for Kim chicken, a great kumutu. Sip, sip, the moo, yes, magic on you.
Maggi, the taste PNG loves.
All One Talks adds some excitement to your festivities with the Flame Easter Bonanza. Win a slice of a whopping 300,000 kina by purchasing the Flame Family Bundle Pack, which includes rice, sugar, flour and vegetable oil, all in one go. Highlight these goodies on your receipt and scribble your full name and contact details on the back and pop it in the entry box in selected stores across PNG. Full fortnightly draws, 100 winners, 3,000 kina each. You don't want to miss out. This promotion ends on the 31st of May. Flame, strength and energy. Terms and conditions apply.
Among all the billion people in the world, you will meet people you are destined to meet.
Look! Many parts of the town of Nuestra Vida are severely flooded.
Nurse, can you help my wife, please?
I can't take it anymore!
The good news is, the baby's heart rate is normal, so we can still wait for a C-section.
One of the twins has a weak heart rate. We didn't succeed. Get Diana! Nurse! Is that not Maggie's baby?
They will lose their daughter, too. They will feel the pain I'm feeling.
New beginnings.
The nation sits on the edge of its collective seat.
It can't be wrong.
Redland wins the Origin for Queensland.
Hard and make it strong. You're simply the best.
Here they go. Goes to Theodore and a rampaging Valentine Holmes.
And we're back. Turning overseas, the plight of Pacific countries, where entire communities are at risk from the scourge of the plastic crisis despite contributing less than 1.3% to global plastic statistics, has been highlighted in Paris, where officials continue to negotiate a legally binding instrument on plastic pollution, including the marine environment. At the official opening of the second session of the Intergovernmental Negotiating Committee to develop all international legally binding instruments on plastic pollution, including in the marine environment at the UNESCO headquarters, the Executive Director of the UN Environment Programme, Inga Anderson, drew attention to the impact of transboundary washed-away plastics and legacy marine litter washing upon our Pacific shores. Anderson reminded the forum that much of the plastic arrives on Pacific shores uninvited. She said a coordinated effort to stop pollution at source while investing in waste management, cleanup and consumption patterns can help address this toxic trail. Anderson was amongst the speakers during the opening ceremony, where the President of France, His Excellency Emmanuel Macron, called plastic pollution a ticking time bomb. Queensland firefighters are preparing for what they say could be a significant bushfire season. Hazard reduction burns caused a thick smoke haze to settle across much of Brisbane on Monday, triggering an air quality warning.
It's a typically destructive force, but in the right hands, an essential tool. Firefighters are conducting a controlled burn of thousands of hectares of land at Brookfield in Brisbane's west, preparing for a big event.
There will be a bushfire in and around Brisbane at some point in the next 12 months.
It is very unpredictable. So we've been discussing this burn weekly since about January. So this is the first suitable window where we've had a number of days where we've had the right weather conditions to conduct it.
The burn is expected to last till Wednesday. It's covered the city in a smoky haze, reducing air quality and prompting calls for those with respiratory problems to stay inside. For firefighters, the short-term pain is well worth the long-term gain.
The impacts that we have today during a planned burn will likely be far less than if we have a bushfire in there in September.
After several huge wet seasons, vegetation on the ground is thick, a tinderbox in hotter conditions. Hazard reduction burns are just one of the tools in firefighters' arsenals to prevent bushfires. They're also one of the most effective, and the window for these sorts of burns is quickly closing.
That's where we start shifting our bushfire treatments to that community education, our slashing programs, our mechanical, chemical treatments and those types of things.
With bushfire season upon us as soon as July, it's now or never.
It's no secret hospitals are under pressure, and now the spotlight is on services in Redlands on Brisbane's Bayside. The Premier says a new satellite hospital will help relieve pressure on the local emergency department.
On the health system is front of mind for many residents in the Redlands.
The ambulance officers have actually had to divert people to another Mater hospital.
Dozens of locals gathered at a town hall organised by the LNP to discuss their experiences.
I could see all the ambulances lined up.
The state opposition is blaming the Palaszczuk government, pointing to health data for the first quarter of this year showing 63% of patients taken to the Redland Hospital waited more than half an hour in an ambulance before being seen in the emergency department.
That's almost 2 out of every 3 Redlands patients are being ramped.
The Premier and Health Minister were nearby.
This is the most completed satellite hospital I've seen.
Touring a health facility set to open in August, which will treat minor injuries and illnesses and will include renal dialysis and chemotherapy treatments.
This satellite hospital in the region will allow more people to come here. That will ease the burden of the emergency departments.
Ahead of the last state election in 2020, the Palaszczuk government committed to a $62 million expansion of Redland Hospital to build an intensive care unit and 32-bed ward. The upgrade was meant to be finished by the end of last year, but work has barely started.
There were some delays with the tender, but I'm advised that early works will commence next month in June.
The opposition leader says if the LNP wins the election, it will deliver projects on time and even fast-track some of them, which will be done by
properly resourcing it, not putting money into the never-never, which we've seen in the Queensland health budget for many years, and by holding ministers accountable for that spend.
And ambitious commitment as the pseudo-election ramps up.
Outback Queensland's natural resources are crucial to Australia reaching its renewable energy targets, but a shortage of skilled workers could threaten the transition to clean energy. The Queensland government plans to build a super hub in the northwest, but infrastructure and services in the region could hold the project back.
Ample sunshine and unobstructed winds, renewable energy projects are tapping into the power of the outback.
It's also windy when everywhere else in the country isn't windy.
In Queensland's northwest, the so-called super hub is set to generate 10 gigawatts of renewable energy. Once built, a 500,000 voltage transmission line will connect Mount Isa to the national electricity grid on the east coast near Townsville.
It's going to be the largest network project in Australia.
But the Clean Energy Council warns across the country there's not enough skilled labour to build and maintain these sorts of large-scale energy projects.
We need to at least double the clean energy workforce by 2030, and we'll need to double it again by 2035 at least to reach around 250,000 workers.
With all of the work in the construction industry in the next couple of years in Australia, there will be some need for some overseas workers.
Many, though, are optimistic about the impact on rural towns. Prairie has fewer than 100 residents, but it's hoped the super hub will re-energise population growth into the future. But locals admit the town and nearby Hewenden in their current state wouldn't cope.
Whether you're looking at the hospital, whether you're looking at the schools, whether you're looking at the roads or the housing, it does need to be upgraded to accommodate for that larger population coming in.
Desperately we will need more water because that bore that's servicing Prairie at the moment is about 80 years old, and so we're just it's just coping with the population that's there now.
Present-day infrastructure that needs to catch up with a green energy future.
It's a land of opportunity, it just needs a bit of help to get there.
Back home, the people of Arawa from the autonomous region of Bougainvilles will no longer have to make the trip to Buka or Port Moresby to access the basic functions of the Immigration and Citizenship Authority. With the launching of the Arawa border post today, locals will now lodge passport applications, work permit applications, provide the avenue for reporting of illegal border crosses and migration cases, including visa checks and enforcement activities. The Arawa border post is the third post established in Arab, with the office post launched in 2017 in Buka and in Bougainvilles in 2022. Deputy Chief Migration Officer Boda Winnis Map officiated on the occasion. He said being in Arawa is very critical for the ICA as people move along South Bougainville through Pangu and there are people coming through Kirakire border post. According to the ICA, additional staff will be allocated to the border posts of Buka, Bougainvilles and in Arawa in the coming months. And now the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. This is TV1 News. Sport is next. Stay with us.
New Fabuloso multi-purpose cleaner with an irresistible fragrance that lasts all day long, creating a field of flowers in every corner of your home with an irresistible fragrance that lasts and lasts all day long. Fabuloso, irresistible fragrance.
Get ready for a mouth-watering dive into the wild with Mike Robinson.
Look at that!
Good job.
Ow!
It's the ultimate catch and cook.
I have noticed that you have not gutted it.
I tend not to gut it.
There's so much flavour.
That's stunning, to be fair.
You know, we're enacting what our ancestors did. It's in our DNA to do this.
Fishing the Wild. A brand new series coming soon on Outdoor.
Such a great crowd and wonderful atmosphere here. Yes, steps inside, Vente, well, spectacular try. Kessie Apps is charging it up, then took it and score. Great kick. There's a dummy, and they go straight through. Support on the inside. See you later, in for try number 2. Oh, good tackle. Look that. Isabel Kelly will host the Origin for New South Wales.
Meet best friends Bossy and Turtle. Whoa! Bossy is the kind of bear who likes to dive right in. For Turtle, it's one step at a time. They may be different, but when they're together, they have the best adventures ever. Oh! Don't miss Bossy Bear, the brand new show. Starts June 26th at these times on Nick Jr.
This June, leap into a futuristic world where imagination, invention and innovation become reality. What food will we eat in the future when all our resources run dry?
We are losing land.
Meet the modern-day farmers in a race to feed the world.
I want to leave something good for the world.
Gain access to one of the world's busiest airports as we reveal the unseen world and unsung heroes of shipping. Inside Air Cargo. Is it game over for this once successful video gaming giant?
Japan kind of got caught in this trap.
Witness these major players level up and smash through obstacles in Japan's Comeback Game. This June on CNA.
Welcome back. The 2022 Digital Cup defending champions Croton Hella Wegman are back in business after registering their third consecutive win on Sunday over Gulf ISO 26-10 to reaffirm their claim on their title defense this year. ISO were in the fight for majority of the game, but bad execution in their attacking sets let them down.
Picking up consecutive wins in recent weeks, including Sunday's victory over ISO, was a far cry for Wegman's early season slumber. Their campaign this year started on a low note with a draw against Lahanis in round 1, followed by a string of losses to the Baris, Vipers and Gurias. A sudden shift in mindset and change in attitude has produced a more positive outcome for Wegman, while the return of key players and the inclusion of a number of youngsters has also boosted their playing stock. Going into Sunday's round 7 clash against Gulf ISO, Wegman had a lot of respect for their opponent, which was reflected on the scoreboard. The return of Hunters centre Benji Court for Sunday's encounter added a bit of X-factor to ISO's attacking prowess when he scored first to give ISO an early lead 6-0 before Wegman reciprocated with not one but 2 tries to Kaupa Sipa and Cyril Seba for an 8-6 scoreline at half-time. Wegman were first to score in the second half when reserve prop forward K.R. Ross Jr. almost took the goalpost with him when he bulldozed his way over Iso's line to extend the lead 14-6. And then it's Iso's reserve hooker, Presley Soto's dummy half crafty play, 10 out from Wegman's line to put Iso back in the hunt, trailing 10-14. The game was very much in the balance until Wegman's nippy utility player, Ikiboy Lawrence, sighted a loophole in the Iso's defensive line and took it with both hands to push them further. However, a trademark intercept by former Debari Andrew Solo on a benchy caught past 20 out from his own line to put the final icing on the cake, 26-10. Number 9, Trevor Solo, picked up the man of the match.
Catch him, Andrew Solo, all over Red Rover.
I was impressed with the boys' performance, and then from the bench there, the boys they started really well. So we don't start really well in the first 10 or first 5 minutes, but I think thank you for our bench to come in and support the boys in our first half.
It's the teamwork that we put, so I think the boys deserve the win, and yeah, big one to the boys, and I'm happy to put some good performance today.
Terry Longwood, TV1 Sports.
Northern Pride's remarkable come from behind victory over the PNG Hunters on Saturday in round 11 of the 2023 QRL Host Plus Cup at the Santos National Football Stadium was a very special win for Pride's young captain, Ewan Moore, on his first trip to PNG. Ewan said scoring the try on the Hunters' fortress, Santos National Football Stadium, was even more surreal.
To Port Moresby for the first time was unreal for Northern Pride's captain Evan Moore, adding he only heard stories about the place and the experiences, but to actually come up and experience it was a dream come true. Saturday's round 11 clash was Northern Pride's first trip back to PNG since restrictions were imposed on international travel due to the threat of the pandemic in 2021. After giving the Hunters a 34-14 thumping at Barlow Park, Cairns in round 5, it was Pride's much-anticipated return match to Port Moresby. Evan admitted they expected a hostile reception from the home crowd, let alone a physical encounter against the PNG boys. At the post-match interview, the Pride captain admitted their adrenaline was down a bit, but commended his boys for the great comeback in the second half to take the win away from the Hunters.
It was a great comeback. I think the big message was just we were down on urgency a little bit. So yeah, we made a big point of coming out in the second half with a lot of energy, and it really came off, and we did really well there, I think.
The captain also praised his fullback Julian Christine for coming up with some freakish plays that led to the 2 second-half tries.
Yeah, Jules a freak, he's done really good. Had a pre-season down at Cowboys, so you know, he's done really good this year, and it's great to have him back at the Pride.
On a personal note, Evan was blown away by the Port Moresby experience, especially the friendly reception, something he'll remember for a long time.
The atmosphere here is unreal. Like, this is my first time over here, and
oh really? Okay.
Yeah, so it's great to be here. I've heard all the stories, and you know, it's just great to be here. It's all love rugby league here, so it's great to be here.
Evan said the win now gives them a lot of confidence as they head to Ipswich for their next game against the Jets this weekend. Terry Longwood, TV1 Sports.
It's been an eventful few days in the Blues origin camp, and the Maroons have responded. First, enforcer Payne Haas go through Sunday's session unscathed, only for Latrell Mitchell to go down in one of the final drills. Now, Queensland have made some positional changes to the side in reaction to Mitchell ruling himself out.
Queensland centres Hamisho Tabuafido and Val Holmes have swapped positions in the wake of Latrell Mitchell's scratching. Tabuafido was initially set to play on the right and mark up on Mitchell, but will now switch to the left to cover Tom Trbojevic. It means Holmes will be covering Mitchell's replacement, Stephen Crichton, in the series opener on Wednesday night. Mitchell suffered a calf injury during training on Sunday and has since been replaced by Panthers gun Stephen Crichton. The 22-year-old played off the bench in the 2022 series opener before starting in the centres for the final 2 games. Crichton was also the late inclusion into New South Wales squad, replacing Campbell Graham, who was ruled out with an ongoing sternum injury. Bulldogs playmaker Matt Button has also been included in the squad, slotting into the 18th man role. Elsewhere, New South Wales were handed positive news after key enforcer Payne Haas got through a training on Sunday without any problems. The Broncos gun went down with an ankle injury on Friday and was helped from the field, and ice was applied around his left foot. However, according to Daily Telegraph, the 23-year-old wasn't hampered by the injury during the Blues' final session within New South Wales. Haas ran sprints with fellow front rower Junior Polo, proving he will be good to go come the series opener in Adelaide on Wednesday. Meanwhile, exiled Maroon centre Dan Gegai has opened up on one of the toughest phone calls on his life after learning he had been dropped by coach Billy Slater. After 22 straight games for Queensland, the veteran was replaced by Dolphins flyer Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow in a huge selection shake-up. Queensland selectors were also slammed for moving away from the famous pick and stick mentality. Gegai denied the Maroons were lacking in loyalty and instead said he will be ready if called upon after the series opener. Terry Longwood, TV1 Sports.
And that ends the news tonight. Pleasant viewing. Bye for now.
The TV1 News was proudly brought to you by BSP, our bank, our people.